The first time I met Leia, it felt like stumbling upon something extraordinary, an ethereal presence I never thought I'd be fortunate enough to find. She was everything I had ever imagined in a partner: fiercely intelligent, gracefully kind, magnetic in her beauty, and possessed of a quiet strength that demanded attention without ever asking for it. It wasn't just attraction, it was as though the universe had deliberately orchestrated our meeting. We crossed paths on a rainy afternoon in a quaint, softly lit bookstore tucked into the corner of a quiet street. I was lost in the pages of a new thriller when she brushed past me, arms overflowing with novels and cheeks tinged with the blush of embarrassment. Her shy smile disarmed me instantly, and in that moment, my guarded nature unraveled. We talked for nearly an hour, as naturally as if we'd known each other for years. When we parted, her number was tucked safely into my phone, and my heart already felt anchored to hers. Within days I was planning our first date. Within 2 years we were standing side by side, hands tightly clasped, exchanging vows in a small, elegant ceremony surrounded by loved ones. She walked down the aisle in a flowing ivory gown, radiant and glowing, and I remember thinking, I must be the luckiest man alive. For a time I truly was. The early years of our marriage were beautiful. Our lives intertwined effortlessly, we cooked together, laughed until our stomachs ached, and built dreams late into the night, huddled beneath shared blankets and shared futures. But as we approached our 3rd anniversary, something shifted. Slowly, subtly. At first, it was nothing more than small disagreements, minor disconnections I brushed off as part of any long-term relationship. But the distance grew. Conversations felt strained, glances shorter. The intimacy that once glued us together began to evaporate. Then came Nora. Leia met her at a professional summit. Nora was electrifying, vibrant, daring, and unapologetically bold. Her confidence lit up every room she entered. At first, I was genuinely glad Leia had found a friend who energized her, someone who brought out a carefree side I hadn't seen in a while. But the excitement soon morphed into exclusion. Weekends turned into impromptu getaways, movie nights became solitary affairs, and I often found myself alone, staring at the clock, waiting for Leia to come home. One evening, as she stood in front of the mirror, carefully applying mascara, I gathered the nerve to speak. "Leia," I said softly, "I feel like you're drifting away from me. You're never really here anymore." She paused mid-stroke, her eyes catching mine in the mirror. "James, I'm not disappearing. I just need some space. Is that so terrible?" "It's not wrong," I replied, my voice quiet but heavy with ache, "but it feels like we've become the afterthought in your life." She turned, frustration flashing in her gaze. "You're overthinking. Nora's just a friend." I tried to believe her. I really did. But doubt had begun to take root. The breaking point came the night of the charity gala. Leia was giddy, her closet torn apart as she hunted for the perfect dress. Nora had scored an invite to an exclusive downtown affair, and Leia couldn't wait. "I don't think you should go," I said firmly. She froze. "Why not?" "I don't trust her," I said plainly. "She's reckless. I don't think she cares about you the way a true friend should." Leia laughed, a sharp, dismissive sound. "You're being ridiculous. It's just a party. I'll be fine." I moved closer, desperation seeping into my voice. "Stay home. Let's spend the night together like we used to. Just us." For a second, something flickered in her eyes, hesitation, maybe even guilt, but it vanished quickly. "I'm going," she said with finality, snatching her clutch. "You don't get to dictate my life." And then she left. The hours dragged on. I tried to distract myself with mindless scrolling, flicking through TV channels without watching anything. Anxiety gnawed at me. What if something happened? What if she needed me and I wasn't there? By midnight I was pacing. I sent her a message. Then another. No reply. At 3:45 a.m. the door creaked open. Leia stumbled in, disheveled, makeup smeared, the hem of her gown torn. She looked as if she'd walked through a storm. "Leia, what happened?" I rushed to her side, panic rising. She waved me off with a faint shrug. "It was just a rough night." "Rough?" I echoed, stunned. "You look like you've been through hell." She mumbled something about a disagreement with Nora, then retreated to the bedroom, leaving me in the hallway haunted by silence. In the days that followed, the distance became unbearable. Leia was cold, distracted. Her phone never left her hand. She answered my questions with vague indifference. I overheard whispered conversations, her voice low and urgent. When I confronted her, she brushed it off. "Just work stuff." But I knew better. One afternoon, while clearing the kitchen, her phone lit up. I never snooped, not once. But something compelled me. The message glowed on the screen. Last night was unforgettable. Can't wait to see you again. I felt the air leave my lungs. When she came home that evening, I held up the phone. Who is he? Her face went pale, her hands trembling. James, it's not what you think. Then tell me, I said, voice breaking, because it looks like you've been lying to me. Tears came, thick and unrelenting. And with them the truth. She'd been having an affair. It wasn't some fleeting mistake. It was months of deceit, of secrecy, of choosing someone else over the life we'd built. My world collapsed in an instant. The next morning I called a lawyer. Leah begged, pleaded, cried until her voice was raw. Please, James. We can fix this. We can come back from this. But some betrayals aren't just wounds, they're fractures that never truly heal. I couldn't rebuild trust where it no longer existed. The divorce was painful. A slow, draining process. Pages of documents. Long, silent hearings. But I remained resolute. When it ended, the court's judgment was clear. Leah was left to face the wreckage of her choices, alone. I relocated. Started fresh in a new city. Threw myself into my work and into rediscovering who I was without her. It wasn't easy. Healing rarely is. But slowly, quietly, I reclaimed my peace. She gambled with something priceless, our love, our history, and lost. And I walked away not shattered but wiser. Oh, alive.